is the Open Conversation. This is a space created for all of us to come together and learn new things about ourselves or about people around us in our environment. But this is also a space for us to discuss topics that are not widely discussed in the world or within our community. So I'm going to give my guest a chance to introduce himself and explain what he does.
Okay. You might hear some noise in the background, some neighbors outside being loud, but
It's okay.
my name is Joaquin Jenkins. You can call me Kimi for short. I am a 25-year-old man, black man, living straight out of South Philly. And what I do out for work is I work within an organization called Heal and Hurt People. It's at Drexel University within the Center for Nonviolence and Social Justice. And I help patients out who has been like affected by the acts of violence in Philadelphia, and I work out of St. Chris Hospital. So people that come in, like kids specifically, young adults that come in that have been like shot, stabbed, assaulted, or witnessed those things, I work with them, get them like connect them to therapy. I can give them like short-term goals and any case management needs that they might have. And I also speak out at like certain events before the pandemic for mental health as well. So that's pretty much just what I do on a Monday through Friday. Sometimes the weekends I take time like now to come here and just talk about, have a great conversation about mental health.
Yes, yes. So I'm so grateful that we're able to come together and have this conversation. For those that may not know, our topic of discussion today is about Black men and mental health. I personally am excited about all that will come out of this conversation as someone who is very passionate about this topic and making sure that Black men are aware of mental health and are getting the mental health resources that they need, but also having open conversations like this about what's really going on.
hmm
So to start off, our first question is, how were you introduced to mental health?
Mm. I was introduced to mental health back when I was like I'm still like a junior year in high school. Like I knew what mental health was, but I never really paid much attention to it. It was kind of like something that just kind of came up in conversation. I had some family members that struggled with it, and I just never really understood until I started taking the time to talk with some people that work in this field. I met with some great people, counselors, social workers, anybody that works in this field. That's when I started learning more and more about mental health, which helped me learn about my own mental health and just was kind of just opened my mind up to like, wow, this is like really a thing. And then when mental health kind of took off and it got to like now how it is now, because back in the day, mental health wasn't really a big thing. Everybody like, if you say like something like, let's say you feeling depressed or something, they'd be like, oh, you be all right. You just having a moment. It's not really suck it up, X, Y, and Z. Now, fast forward now, it's like, oh, like this is a real thing. People really got stuff they go on, they deal with on the daily. So I took classes at Drexel to get to where I'm at now to get certified for what I do, and I started learning more and more about the human mind and how how people react to certain things and why it triggers them and everything else. So now I'm just like, this is fascinating for me. So now I'm just kind of I'm in nose deep into this career now. So
Right. Wow. That's amazing. I think for myself, I kind of had the same experiences. For me, I got introduced to mental health at usually my high school. I believe it was like my sophomore, junior year. I
hmm
always knew what mental health was because of the adults that were around me in my younger years, but I never really made the connections to the mental health and other factors that play a part of that. So I got a little bit older. I
hmm
didn't really understand the concept of mental health until I had a doctor's appointment. And my doctor at that time, it was the one that really gave me the clarity and understanding of what mental health was, but also what was going on with my own mental health. And I wasn't aware of that. Again, I was one of those people that saw mental health as being something you just push through
hmm
and that it is just life. Like, it's life and you just have to suck it up. And not understanding the factors that play a part of that and why I was going through the things that I was going through. So that having that experience and having that conversation with my doctor, that really opened me to understanding what mental health is. Fast forwarding to today, I am all about mental health and I'm all about my own mental health and putting that first. and understanding the work that I have to do towards that, but also making sure that I'm educating others around me at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely will.
Yeah.
Um, it's just another thing too. I do in my work is I try to let people know that what you going through is okay. Like it's not like something you should be ashamed about. I want to make people feel open to speak about it. Like, hey, I'm so and so. I'm going through this because I'm having a bad day because I feel like X, Y, and Z, and it's okay. It's not like you say it and then you're going to get judged by people,
Right.
especially in the professional space. And even if you got like your immediate circle, like your friends or whatever, not tell them like, yeah, I'm not having a good day today. I'm feeling like X, Y, and Z. I need a moment.
Yeah.
So it's nothing wrong talking about it and sharing it.
Yeah. And that's what I've learned too in the beginning stages of understanding mental health is it's okay to state what's going on, and it's okay to ask for support and help.
Hmm.
I think it's something that we lack as a community, especially in the Black community. Although we are in a time where people are becoming more aware of what mental health is and their own mental health, they are also not really taking full advantage of the resources that are being put out there because of the fear of asking for help and asking for support.
Right, in the black community, it's been like a negative stereotype on like therapists and because I still have clients as I try to connect with them with therapists, and they're like, man, I ain't got no therapist, I ain't crazy. And I'm like, no, it ain't crazy because everybody, wherever culture you may be from, all got something we're dealing with. So it's just I try to do my best to break that gap, and then once I get time to talk to the people and clients, they start realizing, you know what, I'm more open to it now, but let me get some time to think about it. Instead of just saying flat, no, I don't want to do it. I was like, no, I mean, you need therapists is here. I figured everybody just talk to them and, get over the stuff you're going through. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, I would say that I think it's amazing the work that you're doing in trying to challenge people in breaking that thought and staying in that stigma that because I
Hmm.
am Black or I'm a person of color, that therapy continues to be the unknown. It continues to be something that I don't need because of the stigma behind that, or the preconceived notion of what a therapist is.
Right.
So
Um,
moving into our next question. So, just based off of your perspective, things that you have been through, you have experienced. Do you believe that Black men play a part in the mental health stigma that we have that is still remaining in the Black community? And if so, how?
you say if black man plays a part.
Yes, like, do you believe that Black men do play a part in that, as far as um, how the Black community is structured and how people view Black men in the Black community, and us trying to, as a community, move forward with mental health and trying to make it more of an acceptance within the Black community. We're still having challenges with that because it's
Right.
still being a stigma. Do you feel like the overall of the review, the perspective of Black men in the community and also in the world could possibly affect that still being a stigma?
Oh, I believe so. It's just got to get more. Speaking about our community, black people, to understand that talking to a therapist is okay. If you have to take some kind of medication because of your mental health, it's okay. It's just you not have to take it forever. It's just kind of just accepting that this is what it is, and just without having, like you could tell the fellas, that hey, I gotta take this medicine because X, Y, and Z, and being afraid to be clowned for it, like it's normal. I just want to really and everybody in the black community, this is a normal thing. It's okay. We all got something, especially within our community. Black men, we see trauma on a daily. We was raised around trauma, especially if you grew up in like the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we see gunshots and people fighting and sirens. That's normal. That's not normal. Like if it's because people that's not from the hood, they see, let's say they see somebody fighting or somebody getting shot, they're gonna freak out. A lot of us on the other side, like, oh, this is normal. It's just like we just inbred in trauma, like, oh, this is just how it is. It's like, no, it's not how it is. And down the line, you'll see that it could be the smallest thing that have impacted you.
Right.
Because I know for me, growing up where I grew up from, I just thought, fighting and cops and like violence was cool. Even like a little bit to this day, I still think it's cool. But now I'm like, nah, because the violence I seen growing up at a young age, I shouldn't have seen that. 'Cause now my whole perspective on certain things has drastically changed. So now I have to rewire my brain and tell myself that, okay, this isn't cool. You got to try to get a different perspective on things.
Right.
I hope that answered your question. I think that's what you was trying to have. Did that answer your question, some?
Yeah, about just, just a hint on why that could play a part. And you did brought up about like the violence that we see. Usually when people think about the violence that we see, especially as you said, in the hood or in impoverished communities, it is seen that it's primarily being produced by Black men.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's, to some extent, it's being, influenced by Black men. And
Mm-hmm.
us looking at that as a normalcy and not really questioning where is that coming from, and why is that a pattern, why is that something that is a normalcy in our lives, that when we think of the Black men that are in our community, that we think of violence or them causing violence and think that it's okay, instead of questioning where is this violence coming from or why are they so violent.
For me, what I would say to that is, the male ego was very, very fragile. It can be something so small that will set us off. Like I believe it's the three things. I will say one, money. Like if you're a black man, that's somebody telling that you say you were broke, you were broke ass, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Now you feel like your mind, you feeling like you disrespected. Now I gotta fight you, even tend to take your life or something like that. It even was like crazy. Everybody's struggling. I mean, I just paid bills. This was yesterday. I got paid yesterday. Paid bills. I'm broke again. So it's just like it's
Right.
what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
what it is. The second thing I would say is women. Now, black men, we how we view women. Not saying the negative, it's like, say like we prime example at the basketball courts, I play ball all the time. If a black man got his girl at a basketball court and he's getting smoked, in his mind, again, it goes back to how the ego was shot. He feel like you being disrespected. Now I gotta disrespect you. Now I gotta fight you, and all type of other stuff that's going on. That didn't have to go on. All right. So, and the third thing I will say is, what's another thing I will say? Like, well, this one is kind of understandable. I feel like it's more like with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your child is in a situation, then it's like, okay. I mean, personally for me, I just feel like if you gotta protect your kids at all costs. So it's like even if that means you might have to, go to jail or some stuff like that. I feel like that's okay. But I fully believe those are the three things. The two things that specifically within the black community is the best. Is definitely the money and the women.
Mm.
Like I've seen a lot of, I had ex homies I was cool with that had fallouts over a female because they both, females, they just feel like, oh, she with me, oh no, she's with me, and then they fighting, and now they trying to kill each other over what. And then I see other people with money. It can be like $10, $20 back in the day. Y'all willing to go to jail for that? That's not money, especially with the inflation rate we at now. Like, what you going $20 can't get you nothing right now.
Right.
So it's like I never understood that. But as I started doing more of this work and looking into some stuff, I thought about. I said, yeah, I can kind of see that. Because even with me, sometimes I still, I feel I'm still a little kind of, not to get too upset about certain things. But it's just, you see that around you growing up. It's like you think it's normal, like to be acting like that, but it's not normal. It's like with my job. It's like we say, hurt people hurt people. If you hurt and not fully healed, you're gonna hurt somebody else that don't need to be, or you gonna cut, or you bleeding on somebody else, according metaphorically speaking. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think everything you're saying is facts. As a person that sees it every day, I definitely think those three things, are 100% contributions to that form of violence. But there's like, as you're speaking, there's like multiple things that I want to like zone in on. And one of the topics that I want to zone into is about when it comes to mental health and the community. As you said, like one big reason why men may contribute to violence